Welcome back, everybody, to All Things Nerdy with Nate and Joe. I'm Nate. That's Joe. Today, we're going to be talking about My Hero and Demon Slayer. Again, we're getting towards the end of the seasons. A lot of crazy things are happening, so we got a lot to talk about today. Kind of break it down. There will be spoilers. Spoiler alert, right? We're going to talk about the most recent episodes, what we hope to see with the last few episodes, and kind of where we're at, what we're excited about, and all those things. Joe?
Are we getting close to I know we are Demon Slayer, but for My Hero,
no, I don't think for My Hero, but for Demon Slayer.
Yeah, definitely for Demon Slayer. I think it's got maybe 8 episodes, and we've already watched 7. But I think My Hero has 21, so we're not even halfway there yet, which makes me happy. But yeah, so super excited to talk about both. I feel like both episodes have some good stuff to talk about in them. So super excited. Usually it's what can we talk about with Demon Slayer? It's been kind of slow. But without further ado, Nate, let's talk nerdy.
Let's talk. So Joe, which one you want to start with? Demon Slayer, My Hero?
I think same as last week. I want to start with Demon Slayer just because even though it's been picking up, I feel like My Hero is just, I want to have more time to talk about that, I guess.
So for Demon Slayer, I think the most exciting thing that's happened this season with Demon Slayer has been the training with the Hashiras, right? But them sparring with each other, because you get to see the level that they are on versus everybody else. You get to see some of that this time with Giyu and Giyu and Sanemi or whatever his name is, the Wind Hashira. I think that was really cool. But I think, outside of pushing the rock one knock or whatever they call it and all that stuff, the backstory for the Earth Hashira was the craziest thing that happened in this episode.
Yeah. I mean, it was a cool backstory. And that's what I want to talk about. His persona just, I guess, fits him because he's he's super religious and he led a church and he's blind. And I was he's blind? I guess I should have guessed it because it doesn't show his pupils, right? It's just his eyes are whited out, but I don't know, just didn't think about it.
Yeah, in my mind, coming from Naruto, that's just what in the Byakugan kind of eyes did this guy have, right? I didn't think anything of it. I thought it was just an artistic, thing that they took.
Thought he was displayed.
Yeah.
But he's just the strongest Hashira, without sight. But whatever, it's cool. It's wow. But it's really just his story of he was I don't blame the little kid for selling us out and literally causing everybody to get slaughtered, and then also I also don't blame the kid who turned on me, and even though I fought to protect her and saved her life, she said I killed everyone. It's yes, you can blame them. You can.
Yeah, 100%. First off, let's be honest. Fuck that little kid that, betrayed everybody for his own life. I don't care what age that kid is or was in the show. As soon as you put your life over all of those other people's lives, get out of here. But the whole backstory, fits him so well, right? The biggest difference is where he is now. He's massive, right? Whereas in the flashback and his backstory, he's small and he's scrawny, but the fact that he tried to fight for these kids, and then the kid kind of turned on him with the police, and then the Demon Corps saved him, and now here the Demon Slayer Corps, right? And now he's here, who arguably the strongest, the most badass Hashira of all the Hashiras, right? And he's always got the prayer beads, and you always see him kind of crying. I think the backstory fits so well for who he is. And I think the training is great. This season, to be honest, has not been my favorite. When I think Demon Slayer, I think kind of action. I think the art is beautiful, all those things. The art is still beautiful, but I feel this season has left a lot to be desired. And I know you can't always, Demon Slayer has kind of the season layout that they do every season, right? It's kind of slow character building, then it's something happens, then it's the fights, and then it's over, and there's an episode or two of the drawback of the fights and getting back up to speed and healing and all that stuff, right? But this one has just been almost all development, but it's not even. It's not like Vinland Saga season 2 development, right? Like, I don't know what it is. I don't feel a strong attachment to this season of Demon Slayer. At no point have I been like, oh damn, that's the Demon Slayer I love. Although the Hashira sparring badass, right? But outside of that,
yeah, the Hashira sparring definitely has been the highlights of each, especially last episode where they were sparring and the swords just pretty much disintegrated just from the force of their movements and stuff.
yeah.
And then just the comedic relief of like, I'm sorry I interrupted. It's like, but it's like it gives us like a 45 seconds of like, oh, this fight is so cool. The art is back. Like there it is. Like it gives you that, and it's like, all right, back to telling us all this setup that we're spending this entire season doing. But I mean, end of last episode, Michael Jackson making his appearance.
Yeah. The thing is, this next episode is the last episode of this season. So, like, as crazy as we think it's going to be, it's going to leave us hanging. It's going to leave us waiting. And they're not even doing another season, I don't think. They're just going to release 3 different movies that are going to cover the Infinite Castle arc, right? So, like, there's not even another season or anything. So we're just going to be left hanging for a year plus for the movies,
I guess the marketing genius, I suppose. Like, do you know how much box office that movie's going to make after leaving us hanging for so long?
So the thing about anime, so I watched a video on this, and they were talking about why Demon Slayer is going to do what they're doing versus a season. So traditionally, anime that has done the movies hasn't done really well, right? So that's why a lot of anime studios got away from it and went back to the seasons on top of seasons, just like traditional TV, right? However, Demon Slayer broke that average with the train arc. They made $500 million in revenue, right? So instead of releasing what everybody wants, which is just a full season, because seasons allow you to do more character building. They allow you more time to do everything than a movie. Because a movie, you have an hour and a half, 2 hours to do everything you want, right?
Yeah.
Like if I watch an episode of TV and it's all character building, I'm like, like it's good. I get it. I appreciate that. That's why I love Game of Thrones. A lot of them, there wasn't a lot of shit happening. It was just all character stuff, right? But it makes you invest in them, right? With a movie, you don't have time to do that. So I'm worried for this last season that like it won't be rushed because it's 3 different movies, but it might feel rushed because it's movies versus. And like if you pay and you go sit at the movies or even sit at your house and you watch an hour and a half of just pure character building, you're gonna be like,
yeah,
what the fuck did I just watch?
If they continue the character building in the movies, I will riot. But hopefully this season is like the setup they need to make it where they don't have to do that, right? Like we're gonna know all the characters going in, we're gonna know where they're at. We have kind of like a question mark with Zenitsu right now. He was like brooding and quiet on the boulder at the end of the episode. So it's like, what did that letter say? I'm gonna stand on that. It's from Nezuko. I don't know why. Just something about Nezuko. No, it's definitely. I don't think it's from Nezuko. I don't know what it is, but it's probably something that was.
It's from somebody in the Demon Slayer Corps telling Zenitsu that the demons are coming for Nezuko, so he needs to get ready to protect her because he loves Nezuko.
I don't agree with that because like he already knows that. Like he knows that's why she's hidden away because they're going to be coming for her. Like why would that not have clicked already? But we I guess we'll see.
What's up, Tim?
Tim says, pretend I just what I did. What show movies y'all talking about? Demon Slayer and My Hero Academia. Right now, just Demon Slayer. Probably about to switch to My Hero.
Yeah.
But definitely excited to see what they come up with for next episode. Just because the cliffhanger they left, like moves on, like walking into the sanctuary where the leader of the Demon Slayer Corps is. He's probably about to finish him off. Which I mean, he's basically dead anyway at this point.
Shit is about to hit the fan, and I am excited for it. I will watch this next episode the second it drops. Right? Like I can't. I honestly, I didn't know what I expected at the end of it because he was like, we've been infiltrated, right? Which is an alarm. Like, oh god, the demons know. But at no point, I think Muzan was just gonna be like, bitch,
showing up himself.
Yeah, like, what you gonna do?
Yeah, hello. I am the most powerful demon.
You don't have to come find me. I found you.
Yep, I got you. But let's see. Moving on to my hero. So,
dude, what?
I talked this up last episode because I was super excited for it, right? Like the Dabi Todoroki fight, like, and they did not disappoint. Like the art, the music, the outcome, like just chef's kiss. Like I was just the whole time, like the dialogue they had back and forth, like the flashbacks, even like, dude, I don't know how to. I wouldn't want to say something's perfectly done just because there's always room for improvement or something. But as far as being like top notch, like that's where it's at. Well, I mean, what do you think?
I do think this episode of My Hero will go down as if not one of the most iconic episodes, it will go down as one of the most iconic fights. I don't know how they're going to top it. I don't even like All for One and All Might or Shigaraki and Deku. There's something about brothers. There's something about their draw, something about Dabi's hatred for Endeavor, even Todoroki's like hatred for Endeavor that he's coming around on and stuff like that. Like there's just something about it. The flashbacks, the music, everything that they did was damn near perfect. If I could think of a way to improve it, which I cannot, right? Like I would let you know. I am quick to be like, I would have preferred this. I would have preferred that, right? Honestly, it was a damn near perfect episode. My biggest issue with My Hero, right, is they do not take away main characters. They just don't, right? Something always happens. You know, there's some, curveball, like there will be a portal that gets him out of there. Now, this being the last season, I'm hoping that they live on the edge a little bit and just let people go away. Like, imagine Dabi just walks away, or Todoroki doesn't kill him, and then they go their separate ways, and he comes back. It diminishes this fight so much. Whereas if Dabi is dead and dies in the arms of Todoroki, right? Like Todoroki is sitting there holding him, realizing what he did to his brother out of necessity, right? Like he had to. But dude, imagine the feels. Imagine that show and just like that episode with that kind of ending. My Hero doesn't do that though.
Mm-mm. They don't. Other than, Star and Stripe was like the most epic and the only. I remember one other death, and it was very like nonchalant. She got hit with a bunch of bricks, and they announced her death later and didn't really talk about it. But Star and Stripe was like the only like loss that they've really had. So like I feel like
Stars and Stripes was also a side character. Stars and Stripes, as close as much as we liked her from the beginning, and as big as a part as she played in the show, she is not a main character. She was never close to a main character. And the argument is My Hero does not fuck with main characters. It is always existent plot armor. And the fact that it doesn't matter, right? Like a meteor could come down and hit fucking one of the main people, and they're going to walk away from it. This is my biggest gripe with My Hero. Is that there's 100%. Y'all are out here world ending, blowing up cities, crushing everything. How has someone important not died?
Right. Pretty much. And like, I do feel like, I feel like Dabi died. Like, I know it hasn't like gone into it yet, but just the way that like his skin was melting off, like during the fight, like it just, and the flashback showing that hey, he's acting as a like he's on like dying, right? Like the only thing keeping him alive is his thirst for revenge, which just again just added to the character. But and the way he slumped over, like at the end, I was like, I feel like he died, but they could come back and he like wakes up and Todoroki gets into some hospital or something, which would suck. But I do feel like he does need to dive to cap off like the cherry on top of an amazing episode would be like him dying and the after effects of that, like how it affects Endeavor, how it affects Todoroki, like how it affects the whole family, right?
It's not even
I
just that
know,
episode. It's Dobby's arc, right?
yeah,
Like him dying that way would be iconic, legendary, right? Like him fighting his brother, all those things. Now, so I guess some people could argue, but he never got a shot at Endeavor, blah, 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 whatever. That episode was so good. And if he just walks away or gets taken to the hospital or whatever, it kind of reinforces not just my issue, a lot of people's issues with My Hero. And I think it will stain a lot of the show. Because then from this point forward, even though this is the final season, nobody is at risk. That means there's only going to be 2 people that probably die. And that would be like All for One and maybe Shigaraki because he's gone. But I don't even think they're going to kill Shigaraki. I think Deku is going to try to reach the inner person of Shigaraki and like bring him out to realize the destruction isn't necessary, which is going to be fucking stupid, right? Like, let's be, that is not, and I know like Shigaraki's having all those internal conflicts with like All for One, but he has been pretty hell-bent on stopping the hero world. So if Deku just like relates and connects and like gets him to stop, I'm just gonna be like,
I mean, that might how it ends up happening. I mean, it's very foreshadowing, like showing the little kid inside, like that kind of stuff. I feel like it's probably going to end up what's happening. But we do have a couple comments. We got Tim says, bring in GRM for the main character issue. He would slaughter everyone. No one would be left alive.
I don't even know who GRRM is.
George R.R. Martin.
Oh, yeah. Everybody be dead. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, everybody would be completely annihilated. Then the bad guys would win.
He made a career out of killing people. I'm here for
it. Yeah, so just like one episode, just to see what he has about it. And then Cazador HR, he didn't have to though. I'm not sure what
he's talking about. Hunter has no idea. He's just throwing out nonsense. He's talking about Todoroki and Dobby, but Dobby's skin was falling off, but that's always happened. That's why he already looks like he does. So I hope he died because he's such a cool character and I love his backstory. I just think it would be more iconic if he did.
Yeah. It would just add to the story, like, and we'd get to see again, like, and Endeavor's reaction to, and Todoroki is like.
I don't know if Endeavor would care. Do you think Endeavor would care about Dobby?
I think so. I think that's would be part of his character development. Like he needs something like that to break that, like, shield or whatever that's around him, that to get true character development. I think hearing that one of his sons killed the other son,
but he's already mourned the loss of Dobby, though, right? Like he mourned the loss of his son forever ago, right? And he had some growth from it and things like that, but like. When he found out Dobby was his son, there was that moment, of like, oh God, you survived somehow, right? And like, I'm sorry you are how you are. But I think if Todoroki was to kill him, I'm not sure it would impact Endeavor that much, other than the fact that he might apologize that Todoroki had to do it and then talk to him about how it's going to weigh on him and all those things. However, if Dobby kills Todoroki somehow, some way, I don't know, and it won't happen.
No way.
My hero, right? But now that would have an impact.
Yeah, that would, like, if he like reached up and just somehow like last second, and they both died. Like, but again, that would be insane, and that would be like, what just happened? But we need Dobby to die at the hands of Todoroki in his arms, right? Like we need to see him fade in Todoroki's arms. Yeah, there's going to be probably like another flashback, maybe like a futuristic what could have been type thing. I feel like I think they're not quite done with it yet. I am definitely interested to see, like.
I think it breaks Todoroki.
You think so?
I think it's going to put him over the edge. I think he's going to realize what he had to do in the name of justice, and he's going to realize his brother, like, where it was deserved. I think he's going to chip on his shoulder, like, I never should have had to do this, and he's going to blame the villains for doing this to Dobby and putting him in this position. And I think you might see like fucking Super Saiyan Todoroki.
Super Totoro. I mean, not like he wasn't last episode, right? Like the power that he unlocked, like his growth, like how he flashed back to Deku and kind of like, this is my power, right? Like combining both, like finally accepting that he's both ice and fire, and like taking the power for his own kind of thing. Like that was really cool to see. And just the ability that it is like, where it's like, the flame is not hot, when people were coming around and touching it and stuff. Like, I feel like that was a pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought the explanation behind it, like the biggest thing, like how he countered Dobby was like, I'm not using the ice to cool my body. I'm using the fire to heat my body, which shows he is the exact opposite, the counterpart to Dobby, because Dobby's burning hotter than what he can, right? And then for them to say that it's so little, it's so subtle, but like it meant a lot because it shows that he is on the exact other side of the spectrum, as far away from Dobby as you can be. The fact that he's like, the counter to that is he's using the fire to, like, I didn't even think about it. I was like, dude, that's so smart. That's so cool, And
I think Dobby like recognized that. Like, I think he even mentioned it was like, we're total opposites, that kind of thing. But Kazor HR says, making a t-shirt that says "Do it for Dobby," but I'm using a picture of the elf from Harry Potter.
First off, Dobby is my favorite character in Harry Potter. He is awesome. Him and the janitor person. I can't remember his name. No, the big dude.
Oh, Hagrid?
Yeah, that one. I'm not like
groundskeeper, sir. He's not a janitor.
Same thing.
He's a groundskeeper.
Whatever. So yeah, I would buy that shirt as well. Don't care. Dobby's awesome. Dobby's awesome times two. Dobby's awesome in My Hero. Dobby's awesome in Harry Potter. Both are awesome.
Plus it's spelled differently anyway. It's not Dobby. I think it's Dabi, maybe.
It is Dabi, yeah.
So shirt wouldn't quite work out how you'd want it to. But I'd probably wear it too.
Yeah.
Marshman says, "Get him, Joe." Yeah, how could you call? I know this is a little off topic, but how can you call Hagrid a janitor? Come on, man! Like,
so look,
you do.
I am not a big Harry Potter person. I watched it. I've never read the books. I've only watched it once, right? So like, I just, for whatever reason, Harry Potter never like grabbed me. My wife absolutely loves it, which is how I've gone to like live orchestra showings of Harry Potter. We went and watched Harry Potter on Broadway, like The Cursed Child and all of those things, right? But like, it's just so much. There's so many people. I just remember the big dude, and he's nice and he's cool. And I felt like he's a janitor. He's taking care of everything. What you mean? Like,
he's not sweeping floors, Nate. He's like wrangling dragons and stuff. Like, come on.
He could sweep floors. We don't know. I feel like there's a part where like he's in his house sweeping floors, which technically he is sweeping floors. So whatever.
I don't see Hagrid sweeping his floor. It's just kind of.
Maybe not.
I think his floor is dirt, actually. Like, I don't think it is a floor. I can't remember. We got Cazador HR says, your wife is going to come through and body slam you on live TV.
She's not here right now, which is why I'm comfortable saying this out
loud. Right. He would never.
Yeah.
He would never.
What do you mean? I love Harry Potter.
I think I remember letting you borrow the Harry Potter DVD set. Like,
that's the one time I watched them.
Yeah, in like 2018 or something. Like, you're like, hey, I want to watch this. Like, I happen to have them all. Here you go.
Yeah. I did take the test. I'm a Gryffindor, so what up?
Yeah, you probably cheated. You're definitely Slytherin.
So that's I thought I wanted to be a Slytherin. I was like, cool being a Slytherin, and then it gave me freaking Gryffindor, and I didn't want to be in there with Harry Potter. Harry Potter's, bro. If it wasn't for Hermione, we'll get way off topic. But if it wasn't for Hermione, like Potter would have died 100 times over. There's no reason that dude should even be the MC. He isn't awful. Like, I don't get it. It shouldn't be Harry Potter. It should be fucking Hermione Granger is what it should be called.
Oh, we got a few more comments. He says he clipped it for her, so he's gonna send it to her. Marshman says Walker gonna have a blackout on the next All Things Nerdy podcast.
That's real.
Oh, and then Haggard's hair looks like a broom. That's the most sweeping he does.
Also, rest in peace. I know that dude died, and like he is a beloved character. He was awesome. He played it so well. Like, rest in peace, my guy.
No, but I get we got like 5 minutes left. Let's try to steer this back. Although I always enjoy when people attack Nate. So if you keep throwing the
I'm
comments
just out
down
here
there,
catching strays, man. I don't know what happens every episode for this to go on. But I'm just out here catching strays for no reason.
Yeah. Definitely we'll still throw the comments up on the screen if you guys, but back to My Hero as far as like what we think is coming. So the episode ended pretty much with him slumping in Todoroki's arms. We know, I think the next episode would probably be Endeavor versus One for All and Hawks, right? I can think it alluded to that.
Which I don't know how that fight's gonna go. I know Endeavor's a badass, but like All for One goes toe to toe with All Might. I know Endeavor was number 2 and then went to number 1 after All Might left. But like if you're looking from a pure power standpoint, the scaling of it just doesn't feel right. Like I know Hawks is great, like Endeavor's cool for what they do, but it doesn't feel like they should be able to go toe to toe for All for One. Now, All for One is weakened. He doesn't have all the quirks, but still, it feels like a weird matchup to me.
Yeah, and especially and I know it's shown them fighting before, but like Hawks has feathers, so if Endeavor wants to blast fire, like it's going to be a problem. He's going to have to get out of the way, or he's going to have to move. It seems logistically like it doesn't necessarily a great matchup.
Excuse me, sir. Can you move so I can yell out this fire blasting attack that I have? So I don't want to scorch your feathers. Like just scooch. Now Hawks is really fast though, right? Yeah. So
Marshman says they barely, the Numo, right? I mean, it was one of the best ones, right? What is it like? I can't remember exactly what they call like the top tier super Numo or whatever. But yeah, I mean that is a fair and valid point. Like they worked together and got their butts kicked against one of his little creations. So how are they gonna hope to actually beat the guy, right? Like
I don't know if they're gonna try to beat him or if they're gonna try to just hold off until Deku can fight Shigaraki, because if Deku is able to remove Shigaraki from the chessboard, right, then All for One's plan is kind of foiled anyways.
Unless it's not.
No, I hate that all-knowing plan for everything. Well, and anime does that a lot, like Death Note. Like first off, motherfucker, you don't know everything to a second. I know you're a really smart middle schooler or whatever, but like, come on. That same issue with like Code Geass. This dude's over here predicting like 19 moves down the road. I'm like, there's no way you knew that. Like, it's just dumb that you know that.
Yeah, but they've already alluded several times to how many backup plans this guy already has, right? Like Dobby was going to be the Shigaraki, right? But he just didn't work out.
I get it. But at this point, he's committed, dude. He's in there, right? Like, I mean, there's no going back. What's your backup plan to that, bro? Like,
Marshman says, I knew you were going to say that.
No, you didn't, Marshman. Marshman, I wish you had that foresight on Call of Duty to know where I was running so you could be there before me and get shot at instead of me.
Oh man, but yeah, I'm definitely super excited to see like how they cap off that fight, and then what is in store for Endeavor and Hawks against All for One. I think that's definitely the next step.
Also, we're what, episode 8?
It's one ahead. It's one ahead of Demon Slayer, so it's 8 out of 21. So there's still a ton left.
Yeah, so there's no way. I don't think. I think like we will jump to another fight, but I think the next couple episodes you'll see small pieces of like Endeavor, Hawks. You'll see some of like Deku going there, Shigaraki going crazy. But I feel like some of it has to almost be filler with like some of the middle tier heroes, some of the classmates taking on Nomus and stuff like that, and. Like, it would kind of be crazy to go from Dabi Todoroki, not give it air to breathe, not give it its rightful, like, hey, like, this is the peak right now. Like, it needs to come down. Like, if it goes from that to another one, it kind of takes away from it a little bit. I think this next one is going to be Todoroki like kind of feeling bad, going through it, them telling Endeavor's going to be pissed off at All for One for putting his son Dobby in this situation, right? And I think you'll see some of that. And then I think it might go to another one and like save that for an episode or two, or it might be another like little back and forth with Shigaraki before like they fully commit to that fight, before Deku gets there to change the fight and the way it works.
I mean I could see that. Like definitely before they get into like another huge fight. But again, I don't necessarily think that Endeavor versus All for One is going to be a huge fight. I think it's going to be very similar to like where it showed the girl that can float. I'm blanking on her name. Where it showed her and the frog girl like fighting the bloodsucker girl. Like I'm so bad with these names, but yeah, where it showed those fighting Toga, like where it was like quick, kind of it sat there for a minute and then goes back to it. Like I don't think that's going to be a major fight like the previous one.
And it should be. I just don't know how they do it, right?
Yeah.
Like unless Endeavor finds another level, like I don't know how they do it.
Again, like Marshall said, like they could barely beat a Nomu. Like how are they going to beat All for One or One for All? No, for all.
Yeah. No, All for One.
No, all for one. Yeah, it's All for One.
I got to think about it. Like all of the quirks for one person is what he wants versus
one person to help everyone.
Yeah. So, Marshman, God.
Yeah, just they're talking trash about Call of Duty down there, but I mean, it looks we are a little bit over time. Any last minute thoughts before we wrap up?
My Hero is absolutely crushing it this season. Go watch it. It has been really, really good. Even with all of my issues from My Hero aside, I do wish there was like fear of loss for My Hero. But even without that, the fights are fantastic. It is really good and all of that. So I would definitely suggest going to check it out. And I'm excited to see the Shigaraki Deku fight because before he breaks down his emotional walls and connects with him on a personal level, I want to see like what the forbidden locked skill is that Deku has that he's not supposed to use because of how dangerous it is. I'm excited to see that. I hope it's something awesome and not stupid. And then I hope the fight between them initially is really good. But what I see is like Deku's going to throw some punches and he's going to be like, you know what? I'm not going to fight you. Whatever, like, I want to connect with you. So Shigaraki's going to beat his ass. And Deku's just going to like take it like a punching bag while being like, but we can be friends. And think about all the people that loved you and blah, blah, blah. And then Shigaraki's going to be like, oh, you're right. I shouldn't do this. And then it's going to be over. And I'm going to be like, F you, MHA.
I mean, I don't know because he can't really touch him because if he touches him, he's going to take his quirks. So I don't really know how the fight's going to go out. I know he's probably going to try to like hold him with the like green
whips,
vine, the green whips. But definitely excited to see what's behind the hidden secret door power that you can't access because it's too dangerous. But we do have a couple comments. Marchman, is this the last season? I believe it is, right? Like this is the last.
It is supposed to be, unless they go back on their word. It has been planned that this is the last season. I did see something about a movie after it though, which is very confusing because if like they do this whole season and then go into a movie, I'll be like, pro. But supposedly it's supposed to be the last season.
Make us wait on a cliffhanger, like I'd be so aggravated, like Demon Slayer's trying to do. But hopefully it doesn't become the norm. I'd be very annoyed with anime. But yeah, thanks everyone for joining us. It's been a pleasure to talk with y'all, and look forward to seeing y'all next week where we, I guess, recap the season finale of Demon Slayer, and we should have a guest on. It'll be the last episode where we are kind of focusing on anime or these two specific anime before we move into our next topic of
video games.
So
because of NCAA.
Yep. See y'all later. Have a good weekend.